Well, Bev, we're talking about children of a very young age. Mostly they're between the ages of 1 and 5. And since January, it turns out, there have been 206 cases of children suddenly presenting with everything from fever to diarrhoea to vomiting. Children who are having trouble urinating or can't urinate at all. And in fact, 48% of these children are then dying. They're suddenly presenting with septic shock and in some cases acute respiratory disease. Now, authorities here still don't know what's causing this, but it does parallel what has been happening, of all places, in Gambia in West Africa, where in recent months 70 children there have also died at a similar age in a similar way. And in Gambia, at least, they have supposedly linked these deaths to 2 cough mixtures that are imported from India. Cough mixtures which apparently contain the ingredients ethylene glycol and diethylene glycol, which apparently are used as chemical products in industrial sort of products. So in that case, they have got links to those 2 cough mixtures, but in Indonesia, the authorities are saying, well, those cough mixtures are not actually sold here. So they're now unsure just what it is that's causing these deaths. But certainly in the last few months, the number has almost exploded. There was only a couple of cases a month to begin with this year, but as the months have gone on, certainly since August, there have been a lot more cases.
And have they not yet found any common denominator? What sort of lines are they investigating?
Well, the health authorities have set up a task force between the Health Ministry, the World Health Organization and the Paediatrics Association here. Look, a few months ago they were worried that maybe this had some sort of connection with COVID. They were looking at links to COVID vaccines or even people who'd not been vaccinated, whether that, there was some connection between people who had antibodies for COVID. Just today, in fact, they've ruled that out and said they don't believe that is the case. But they are, of course, looking at, the children who died and the children who were ill, just what, if any, medications they were on. They're asking parents to fill in forms to say, they were giving their child any kind of paracetamol or cough mixture or any other sort of drug that a child of that age might have. They're also interested to see whether the drug was administered as a liquid as opposed to a capsule or a tablet. For some reason, that might also explain why children are dying suddenly. But, until that investigation is complete, they won't really know much more.
Yeah, so what are they saying in terms of trying to prevent further outbreaks?
Well, at this stage, all they can do is ban the supply of paracetamol, cough mixtures and other medications that are given to children who are very young in a liquid form. They've said that doctors are banned from supplying those sorts of products in liquid form. Also, chemists are banned from supplying it or selling it. And parents have been advised not to give their children any sort of drug that is not prescribed or that is in a quantity greater than what a prescription might suggest, and certainly nothing in a liquid form. They're also, of course, consulting authorities in Gambia, and the World Health Organization no doubt is involved in that, and looking, of course, at whether there are those links to products coming from India.
Anyone who's been to Indonesia knows that you can sometimes buy pharmaceuticals and you're not even quite sure what's in them when you take them. But how rigorous are the regulations with medicines coming in from overseas?
Well, look, that's something I can't fully answer. I think there's probably a lot of drugs that perhaps these particular drugs are being rebranded under a different name. That's certainly a possibility. I mean, from my experience, often you feel that you go to a chemist to get something like paracetamol or any kind of drug and find that it's actually not strong enough, that it's not as strong as something you might get back home, and it doesn't work. But, in this case, clearly there's something that, if it is indeed a drug that is being made, not to the proper standards or not to not with the right ingredients altogether, or something that is contaminating that product. And as I say, we may have to wait some time, and hopefully the number of deaths won't go up too much higher before those findings come through.
Yeah, now that it is more commonly known. Thanks so much for that update. Good to talk. Thanks, Anne.
Thanks, Bev.